Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump, perhaps partially joking, is already talking about running for re-election in 2028. We know at this current stage, he's not eligible for re-election, but they're trying to potentially get something passed to where, as long as it's not two consecutive terms, which is what Obama had with 2008 and 2012, then maybe Trump would be able to run again. There's also the idea where Trump can run as the VP with the idea he'd immediately be elevated to the president. To me, all of these are far out there scenarios. I don't think this is going to be happening. But with Trump, I'll give my take after this little kind of a joke thing here. But honestly, there is some truth to it. It's just like the idea Trump wants Canada to be the 51st state. He has shown a propensity to want land. He wants Greenland. He wants the canal. So maybe he doesn't want Canada as the 51st state, but it does seem like when he references certain things, like the idea of running for president again, that there is maybe a little bit of truth in there. Now with Trump, if he was like 65, I think for sure we're going to be looking at doing something to where he's probably going to try and run again in some capacity. And you could say even with Vance, because we expect it to be Vance, who really knows, but based off of how they're having Vance talk, he's starting his own brand a little bit. They're sending him out there. He's really not in the shadows as a VP. I think the Trump people know it's probably going to be Vance, and Trump can give significant input to Vance because Vance, really his career in part was made by Trump. And so he's going to have allegiance and loyalty specific to Trump. So even when Trump leaves the White House after his second term, he's going to have influence over Vance, kind of like Obama did with Biden. But let's see what Trump has to say here.
Almost 40% of the vote. Now, I won't be happy the next time. Should I run again? You tell me. There's your controversy right there. There's your controversy. Thank you. You'll be seeing that you're gonna see that tonight, Tim, on television.
Yeah, so the crowd chanting 4 more years. Again, with Trump, there's a little remnants of truth with all of this, I think. But the problem with it is his age. He's going to be 83. And I just think that's too old. And also, you do have the problem with Trump not being eligible. Technically, I do believe, I looked this up a while ago just to see, I do believe Trump is eligible to run as VP. And in a scenario where Trump runs as the VP to Vance, he would be allowed to serve 2 years if something happens to Vance, unless they change it. I think it comes down to an interpretation of the amendment in which it states that Trump and really any president can only serve 2 terms. And so it's like an interpretation type thing. So maybe they will reinterpret it and Trump will be able to run again, but I think it's the age. The age is a big issue. But it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, this is just what Trump does. And with his approval rating, people are saying, well, his approval rating's gone down. It's total crap. I mean, Trump is doing what everyone wanted him to do. Why would you have an unfavorable opinion of Trump? He's eliminated government waste. You don't like that? You don't like eliminating government waste? That's something you don't like? We've also got this, Jasmine Crockett. This is just not understanding any of the current dynamics in terms of this Doge dividend. Let's see what this is. This is just...
Now, President Trump says he likes the idea of giving some of the savings from Doge back to Americans as kind of a dividend. Would you support that?
Listen, he's just telling a lie. He's not the one that had anything to do with the $1,200 refunds that people had during the midst of COVID that was done by a Democratic House. And
they're not refunds. They printed money because people weren't allowed to work. It's not a refund. A stimulus. So see, she's already getting it wrong. A stimulus check, it was meant for people because they couldn't make money, but it wasn't a refund. It was new money that was created. Doge dividend is saving money from the government waste and giving it back to the people as a refund for the amount that they've been taxed. And again, the problem is a lot of the money that we're being taxed on our tax dollars are going to things that are wasteful. So the idea would be Doge would be saying we've gotten rid of all of this waste, so you're getting the money back because we wasted it. The waste is now over, and we will give you a refund because we've been able to eliminate what they're trying to do is around $2 trillion, and then they're going to take 20% of that. And you've also got the inflation argument, which, yes, if you do give people disposable income, I mean, it would be really good for things like crypto and stuff like that. I mean, this would be good, trust me. And the inflation would be minimal because people could keep comparing this dividend to a stimulus check. No, they're not printing more money and just giving it to people. This is money being reallocated, and it's only 20%. If they're able to save $2 trillion, which honestly, I think they probably will with the stuff that they're cutting. And they're going to really have to start looking at things like Social Security. Those are the real big spenders when it comes to the U.S. government. But talking about military budget by 8%, you're talking about eliminating the things that, I mean, they've already got about 60, 70 billion out at this point. It is a big way to 2 trillion, but still, if they can do it, you're not taking the $2 trillion and saving it from government waste and then giving it to people. They would be taking the $2 trillion and it would be, I think it's 400 billion. So it's like 20% goes, and that's the refund. But like, I'm sorry, I don't want to, let's listen to this, but this lady, she's already getting it wrong. And then she's like, oh, it was the Democrats who passed the stimulus checks. Yeah, the stimulus checks, especially the Biden third one, were horrible, and they crippled the economy with inflation. And inflation was created, that was a double whammy. Because yes, you give people money, there is the potential for increased inflation, but what's even worse is printing money and then giving it to people. So it's the double whammy. This is not what Trump is proposing.
Democratic Senate. Right now, what they're going to do is say, hey, we want to give you a refund, but Congress won't let us because they already know that there's just no money for that. The only reason
the money comes from what they save through the Department of Government Efficiency. That's the whole idea of the refund in the first place. If they are able to save and cut $2 trillion out of the budget, they can offer possibly, and look, I don't know, I say use it again, right now the U.S. is still in debt significantly. Maybe it'd be that 400 billion would be better allocated against the debt. And I think Trump would probably agree, but it's like, if we take 20% of it and give it, it's probably going to help Trump's approval rating. It'll be good. Like, these people are arguing against $5,000, but this isn't even the worst part of this video. Listen to this.
And that those refunds came before was because we were living in different times. This was a time in which hopefully we won't ever go through again.
You're not even, no, you're comparing a refund to a stimulus check. The stimulus check is money infused. They just print it and then give it to people because people weren't working. There's no comparison between a Doge dividend and a stimulus check. The Doge dividend is created by Doge saving money.
And we had a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. The bad part is that I don't know if it's once in a lifetime because we know that Ebola, unfortunately, was detected right here in New York here recently. And if we continue down this road of getting rid of scientists or deciding that we don't want to rely on experts as it relates to what they're telling us to do.
What does this have to do with the dividends?
Or we don't want to deal with vaccines and medicine in this country, then we may be facing not only our next pandemic, but our next 2, 3, or 4 pandemics because of their incompetence. So no, we are not in the business of giving out money. And honestly, I don't know what $5,000 will do for you.
What will $5,000 do for low-income people in Detroit, Michigan, low-income people in Philadelphia? I mean, it's just, that's a horrible, horrible statement by her. But see how they have to oppose everything. Trump is this is revolutionary what Trump is doing. They have to somehow oppose it. That's why you laugh at it and it's like so ridiculous. We're not in the business of giving out money, says the Democrats who just a week ago, 2 weeks ago, Trump destroys USAID and says this is a joke. All this money is just going to other countries. And they defend it and they say, yes, we love giving out money. And then 2 weeks later, we're not in the business of giving out money. But honestly, that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was not understanding the difference. Or maybe this is just their argument because what Trump is trying to do is so good and it would get so much applause in terms of those checks. I mean, get those checks in and then we just get a massive bull run. I mean, you want to talk about, because remember in 2021 what happened with the stimulus. But listen, this is not the same as in terms of the inflation. People say, well, it's going to increase inflation. Well, look, we're not printing more money. Yes, if you give people spendable ink, it's going to help the economy. As long as the economy grows at a higher rate, the inflation's not going to increase too much. It would be a lot less of an impact than the stimulus checks. And really, it was Biden's third stimulus check that really crippled everything. And they had their entire $1.9 trillion plan. It was a mess, and that's what really caused the inflation. They won't talk about it, though. And also, I mean, it just in general, the pandemic, yes, it was a once in like a century thing. Trump had to deal. I mean, Trump lost the election because of it. He had a great economy in 2019 and early 2020 before shutting it down in March. So this is just the reality. You've got Trump saying, will you maybe running for a third term. Trump, I think if he was younger, we would be looking at certain things. You're looking at Trump running as a VP to Vance and then Trump immediately being installed. It's legal. It is legal. But look, I don't want it to happen. I think Trump, he's too old. He's 83. Trump has Vance as his understudy. And the problem with Vance is he going to be able to turn out the people that Trump was able to turn out? I don't know. I know Vance is trying to, again, create his own brand, go out there, give certain speeches. He's like this right-wing dude. Now Vance is coming out and saying, no, we're done with immigration. Nobody's coming in. I mean, that's good. But I just wonder how much of it is this, dress-up game to where it's really just Vance trying to be a hard ass and appeal to the base. And it's important to see Vance make certain decisions and rule on certain. I mean, Vance was in a good spot in the H-1B issue. He just didn't really speak about it very much, if you guys remember. Unless he changed his stance. But I remember Vance kind of being the only one, because it was like Trump, Elon, Vivek. They were all like, yes, we need more people coming over. Vance was like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. But then Vance really kind of shut up about it, because it's like Vance knows where his place is right now within this administration. But now they're bringing him out a little bit more, trying to get him his personality, so Vance becomes more likable. And it does look like it's probably going to be Vance. I mean, again, it's really early. Remember about 3 weeks ago, Trump had an interview with Fox. And they said, well, is Vance next in line? And Trump said no. But then Trump said, well, it's too early for that. I was surprised Trump immediately said no. I thought Trump would say, it's just too early, kind of give the politician answer. But he did immediately say no. So, I don't know. I still think it's going to be Vance. And then Trump's going to have a major input. Trump's going to be out there campaigning for Vance. Let's be honest. It's whoever Trump wants. And what's working against Trump is his age. And when you 82, 83, it becomes tougher. And especially when it comes for Trump running, I just can't see it happening, because there's just too many variables. There's too many things to get over. There's too many people that hate Trump. You would need a constitutional amendment change, which would never happen. They would never get the votes for that in Congress. So, I mean, again, there are certain things you could do, like Trump being the VP and still being eligible to be the president for 2 years after that. But it's just, I think it would be a lot easier just to have Vance, and Trump's like basically the daddy of the whole thing, to where he still has influence, just like Obama did with Biden. And I think that's probably what would happen. But either way, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.